अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की नामाचार्य दास प्रभु श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की all glories all glories all glories all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Three point 22.7. Okay. Sri Chaitanya Manavishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Andeham Shri Guru Shri Kapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsar Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vinamtam Sajimam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Sahagalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nidinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Paschatadeshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauravishwe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusuti Devi Pranamami Vanchākalpatarubhyasya kripāsindubhya eva ca patitānām pāvanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narayana Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Kashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Nandana Govindaya Namo Namaha Dishyatvayanusishtoham Prasthanugraho Mahan Apavritaihi Karnarandre Dushtadishtyo Shatirgiraha Dishyatvayanusishtoham Prasthanugraho Mahan Apavritaihi Karnarandre Dushtadishtyo Shatirgiraha Dushyatvayanusishtoham Prasthanugraho Mahan Apavritaihi Karnarandre Dushtadishtyo Shatirgiraha Dishyatvayanusishtoham Prasthanugraho Mahan Apavritaihi Karnarandre Dushtadishtyo Shatirgiraha Dishya Dakile Paya Vayu Anshishtaha Instructed Aham I Kritaha Restored Saha and Anugraha Favored Mahan Great Apavritaihi Open Karnarandreihi the holes of the ears Yushtaha deceived Drishtya the good fortune Sushatihi pure Giraha words Translation for Purva His divine place Translation for Purva I have fortunately been instructed by you and thus great favor has been bestowed upon me. I thank God that I have listened with open ears to your pure words. Purport. Sri Rupa Goswami has given directions in his Bhagavatam on how to accept a bona fide spiritual master and how to deal with him. First, the desiring candidate must find a bona fide spiritual master, and then he must very eagerly receive instructions from him and execute them. This is reciprocal service. A bona fide spiritual master or saintly person always desires to elevate a common man who comes to him. Because everyone is under the delusion of Maya and is forgetful of his prime duty, Krishna consciousness. A saintly person always desires that everyone become a saintly person. It is the function of a saintly person to invoke Krishna consciousness in every forgetful common man. You see, the duty of a saintly person is to reach out to the common man and make the gifts of Krishna available to him in the form of holy name, the holy scriptures, Pali Prasadam, the holy association, by which the common masses can get a chance to hear about the tidings from the spiritual world that Lord is giving to the scriptures. There's a verse by Nanda Baba, is telling to Gargamuni. Mahat Picharanam Drinam Vridinam Tegasam Nishreyasaya Bhagavan Namit Kalpita Kuchit. He's telling that, oh great sage, personalities like you are very holy places because you move around here and there and come to the homes of householders like Vaishyas, where you come only for one purpose, to glorify the Lord and enlighten the householders in the path of devotional service. Mahat Pitaranam, Nrinam, Virinam, Bhirachetama. He's telling that such householders will be constantly counting the money, homes and children's and they are absorbed in materialism. But you wake them up and to Krishna consciousness. That's the only purpose for which you go to the household of anybody. You have no other purpose. Now, the saintly person is acting as the representative of Krishna, but the other people, what is their prerogative qualification? They should be very eager for receiving that association. Oftentimes it is seen that people are ready to pay a donation and push off. They have no time to sit down and hear the Krishna. Or people don't take spiritual commitment very easily. And or sometimes people become inclined to seeking some material benefits. Sometimes we bring a man working in Microsoft or such companies to give a seminar to the boys. And that Prabhu is speaking on Krishna consciousness very nicely for an hour. As soon as he finishes the lecture, he gets off the Vyasas and immediately boys around and ask how to get into Microsoft. How did you get into it and what all we have to do, things like that. So, the devotee of the Lord is actually meant to be taken advantage by devotional association. He is not here to give anything material. So, the candidate should have eagerness for spiritual association. And devotees of the Lord should not be lazy or lethargic in reaching out Krishna to the people. So, two ways. Devotees of the Lord should be eager to distribute Krishna to all the people as much as possible. And the people should be eager to receive that opportunity. Otherwise, like sometimes you go to your youth and you find that I used to ask every morning, who gave the class? There was no class. Really? Why? Oh, we were only 2-3 of us in the center. 3-4 boys only came. So we didn't have a class. What about breakfast? No breakfast, just now we finished. So breakfast is going on, no class. So no class, no breakfast also. One should not want to eat, just sleep. Prabhupada said, if you don't study my books properly, you will simply eat, sleep, and fall down. He said. So, a vibrant center means the sound vibration should be heard. There should be Mangalarti, Narasimharti, chanting, and recitation of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And there should be some spiritual association means 3 things: spiritual discussion, knowledge transmission, heart transformation. That is association. So, unless spiritual discussion happens, how there will be knowledge transmission? Without any transmission of knowledge, how there can be any heart transformation? If there is no heart transformation, what kind of religion is that religion? It's a cheating religion. Cheating religion is called Kaitava Dharma. Kaitava Dharma means, you go to God, bow down to Him and seek some material benefits. Or you go to God and imagine you are God or you want to merge with God. These are all simply cheating religion. Real religion means there should be a change of heart. The cruel-hearted Mrigari became a kind-hearted, compassionate Vaishnava. That is religion. You will see that. The arrogant Rahugana he became a humble Rahuguna king. He had a change of heart after meeting Jadavarada. You will see that. It's a big change of heart. You will see that. Prachina Parishat, attached to Prachina Parishat, who was attached to Karmakanda, sacrifices, Kriya Kandesha, Nishnada. He became a detached king after associating with Narada. And immediately, even before the Prachitas returned back, he went to forest, Prachina Parishat. The attached to Dhritarashtra became detached Dhritarashtra, hearing from Vidura. You will see that there was such a big change of heart. You will see that. So in this way, you'll find the association should bring about the transformation of heart. So Narada is not only willing to give association, he is chasing after people. You will see he goes everywhere. As soon as Durga goes to forest, Lord Vishnu gives information to Narada. Go to forest, there is a wonderful preaching opportunity there. Go to the forest, immediately he goes there to reach out to Dhruva. As soon as Kayadu, and the Kayadu whom Prahlad is about, and Prahlad is present, Narada is preaching to him. Even before the child is born, wherever the opportunity, immediately Narada reaches there. So the scientific people should be eager to distribute knowledge, and the other people should be eager to receive that knowledge. And the combination will come out very well. There will be propagation. Let's go to the next paragraph. Manu said that since he was advised and instructed by Kardamuni, he was very much favored. He considered himself lucky to receive the message by oral reception. Sometimes people come and ask you, oh, please give me your blessings. What do they mean by blessing? Blessing can appear in varieties of forms. If a small child is coming and bowing down, Prabhuji, please give me blessing. You can give a cookie or something, other, some prasad. That's the way he can receive the blessing. Or if some student is coming and seeking blessing, he says, I am actually frustrated by the challenging modern days because of the cutthroat competition. Please give me your mercy. So it is in chanting, how to chant Hare Krishna. Take shelter of Krishna, and we'll have to take a book and read the book. Sometimes a couple comes and says, please give us blessing. That means when they, as couple, for them to be successful, they have to cultivate tolerance, and patience, and humility, and respect for each other, and service attitude towards each other and Krishna. So then you give them some advice how one can perfect Krishna consciousness in their start. Then they receive blessing from you. So blessing means Krishna consciousness. If somebody is seeking blessing, we can give some Krishna consciousness to them in a way that they can accept and benefit. So therefore, generally in the Vedic times, if somebody came across a saintly person, then one will consider that I have become very favored. I am lucky. Why? Because I learned something, I had some upgradation in knowledge about Krishna, or I had some upgradation in realization and wisdom. Wisdom is applied knowledge. So I had some upgradation in some wisdom by meeting the saintly person. Or I had some misconceptions and they all were cleared. Nashto moha, pratir labdha, tat prasadan mayakta, stitaha asmi, gata sandeha, karishke vachanam tava. Arjuna said, this is the result of association. Nashto moha, illusion will be gone. And wisdom will be gone. And nashto moha, pratir labdha. Krishna consciousness was born. And tat prasadan by Krishna's mercy. And then he says, Stitahasmi, I have become firmly situated in Krishna consciousness, Nishtha. Kata Sandeha, all my doubts are dispelled. Karishte Vatanantava. Now I make my will one with God's will. So this is the meaning of association. So he said, it is especially mentioned here that one should be very inquisitive to hear with open ears from the authorized source of the bona fide spiritual master. So it's called as submissive oral reception. Which means one should, first of all, one should hear and get awakened in spiritual life. And two things have to be heard. One is the spiritual knowledge of the Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. and the knowledge will kindle our Krishna consciousness, inspire us. The result of that knowledge awakening in our heart is that we will develop eagerness to enter some service. Now we want to do some service. If you love somebody, then naturally you have an eagerness to please them by entering some service. So once you hear about Krishna, then you also develop a desire that I want to serve him. Okay, how one should receive? One should receive the transcendental message of reception. The word Kanda Andrehi means through the holes of the ears. The favor of the spiritual, please repeat this statement, very important statement. The favor of the spiritual master, is not received through any other part of the body, but the ear. So both the knowledge as well as the instruction for seva, both are received only through the ears. Therefore, this receiving this through the ears is most important. Yeah, it's a very, very famous statement. This does not mean, however, that the spiritual master gives a particular type of mantra through the ears in exchange for some dollars. And if the man meditates on that, he achieves the perfection and becomes God within 6 months. Such reception through the ears is bogus. The real fact is that one spiritual master knows the nature of a particular man and what sort of duties he can perform in Krishna consciousness. Here comes a very important point is coming up now. That means the Guru knows the psychology of an individual devotee. And what is the psychology? The capability of a disciple. And what sort of duty the disciple can do. And that will be explained even more now, more clearly. And then he says here, and he can, he instructs him in that way. He instructs him through the ear, not privately but publicly. For example, Prabhupada's Guru was standing in the bank of Radheshyam, and there were five, 6 disciples around, and he was in a very sad mood. So the Guru is sad, disciples are worried. The Guru said, see, this big Bhagavatam what has come, but my disciples who are supposed to be saintly, I'm finding that amongst them they are fighting with one another. That I want this room, I want bigger room, you take smaller room, things like that. Or somebody says, I want Ganga facing room, things like that. He said earlier we were living in a small matha where there was no place to lie down. It was filled with books. They were going out and distributing the books to get some space to sleep in the ashram. Now we made a very big temple, Bhagavatam. One disciple gave the entire life's learning and made the Bhagavatam temple and gifted it to spiritual master. And he had no other place to go. With permission of Guru, he also lived in the same building in one room he was living. So, Basant Chandra accepted the matha, but then later on saw the disciples becoming attached to the matha just for eating and sleeping and preparing the corner for having their own private place. So at that time he made the statement that Agum Jyoti, there's a fire in the mat, he said. And what is the fire? He said, Jews are becoming materialistic. They are simply, finding out the space to live and no eagerness for preaching and propagating Krishna consciousness. So at that time, standing in the bank of Radhakundi, he said, I wish all the marbles in this temple are removed and sold. We print books and we distribute it. That's what he said. And then he made one statement. If you ever get money, print books. And that was heard by 5, 6 people. But only one person captured it. And that Prabhupada made the BBT, Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. So that's what he's saying, that he instructs him through the ear, not privately, but publicly. He says. Another example, when our Abhay Babu first met along with Naren, Bhaktivedanta Thakur, they both offered obeisances, right? Even before they got up, Bhaktivedanta Thakur gave instruction, privately or publicly? Publicly, everybody knew that. He said, you are young English-speaking men, why don't you go to the West and propagate the message of Lord Chaitanya in English language, like that he said. That's why he's saying instructs them through the ear. not privately, but publicly. You are fit for such and such work in Krishna consciousness. You can act in this way. Like that the Guru says. You are educated young boys who are ready to give preaching of Krishna consciousness in English language. He told them. One person is advised to act in Krishna consciousness by working in the deity's room. I hear you saying. Yeah. And another is advised to act in Krishna consciousness by performing editorial work. Another is advised to do fishing work. Another is advised to carry out Krishna consciousness, the cooking department. There are different departments of activity in Krishna consciousness, and the spiritual master, knowing a particular ability of a particular man, trains him in such a way that by his tendency to act, he becomes perfect. This is a very important thing. See, Prabhupada was a very, not only powerful preacher, but a powerful cook, and he was a very powerful engager. If a preacher is not a good engager, he cannot hold any devotee. It is just not possible. If you don't engage them in service, you may preach and bring hundreds of devotees, but if you don't take out time to think how this devotee can be engaged in some Krishna conscious activity in order to get the taste in serving Krishna, then people come, they hear lecture with 1 year and leave it in another year, they go away. For example, I'll tell you many examples. When Prabhupada came to New York, you see Jajrani Mataji, Prabhupada said, please do painting, you are an artist. And he gave her assignments for painting. And he said, Hi Grave Prabhu, you are good in English. He opened one cupboard and showed all these manuscripts are waiting for you. Can you edit that? So he looked up and down and said, Swamiji, this is a lifetime work. It appears it will take my whole life. Prabhupada, it will take many lifetimes. You do this work. He gave him parallel supply of work for editing. He told the Jayan Prabhu to make the Rath carts. He told Sham Sir, we are carpenter, make the altars for the Lord in the with carpentry. London, he made that beautiful this thing, altars. And he told Samaksha Maharaj and his own as Vishnu Swami that go in the Greyhound buses all over America, several buses, and distribution Prabhupada books. So he gave the book distribution. Rai Ram, he told him to print and publish the books. Yeah. His own Vapaksha Maharaj, he said, you be the trustee for the BBT. And Prabhupada saw that he is an Indian boy, so he sent him to India to take the responsibility later on in Delhi. You will see that. And in this way, and he told as well as the Bhakti Maharaj, you are a very educated and smart Bengali boy. Why don't you translate all my English books in Bengali language? So it was translated. Later on, he Prabhupada called some of the disciples and said, like Swarapi Prabhu, Prabhupada said, to design the Vrindavan and the Juhu marble temples, to design the architectural model of the temples. So he did that. And as well as Jayaprakash Maharaj, Prabhupada gave him the whole this thing, Mayapur to develop. And Prabhupada took him and showed him that here is going to be the headquarters of the whole world. And Jayaprakash was very young, he was only 19 years old. He looked around and said, Prabhupada, I don't see anything other than fields here. Prabhupada said, yes, very soon everything will manifest. And Prabhupada said, I'm giving this land to you, develop it, enjoy it. So very wonderful service I'm giving. He said, Prabhupada, but I'm very young. You're giving me sannyas at a very young age. Prabhupada said, don't be bodily conscious. He said, don't think of the body. You are not the body, you are spirit soul. And you will get strength by my order. And he gave him that service. As well as Satchidanand Maharaj in those days was doing university book distribution, going from university to university to send reports to Prabhupada. And which all universities they have reached. So he was a writer also, writer and reaching out the books. He was the president here in Boston. You will see that in this way, Prabhupada gathered some 8 or 10 disciples at that time and told them, you go to Boston, you go to Santa Fe, you go to Dallas, you go here. One time he divided 8 of them in 8 places. So one man told Prabhupada that, Swamiji, if you are going to send one person to one place like this, will your movement not become diluted? Prabhupada said, sorry, I disagree with you, he said. And he said, one good soul is good enough. Prabhupada wrote in a letter. If one good soul goes to a center, he will make 100 devotees by his own sincere practice of Krishna consciousness. And devotees asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, what should we do when we go there? Prabhupada said, do as I have done, speak as I have spoken. He said, very simple. What is to be spoken, I have given you in my purports. How I developed the movement, you know that. Do Sankirtan, distribute prasadam, speak Krishna conscious lectures, lead a very exemplary life, be very strict with the morning program, rising early in the morning before 4 a.m. and being present for the whole morning program. And when people come, cultivate them, care for them, engage them in services, and then distribute books profusely. So in this way, with all these things, you will make lots of devotees. And Prabhupada said, you don't need any new formula. This is a very simple formula. If you are not making devotees, we are seriously lacking in some things which Prabhupada has very strongly instituted. For example, the books, reaching out the books in large numbers. Actually, Prabhupada, I was very happy to see the malas here, japamalas in the temple. Just like japamalas are available for any visitor to the temple to chant. Similarly, books should be profusely available. That should be, all the varieties of books should be available in profuse number. And also, we may give some small books free, but the bigger books have to be charged. And also, people should, the book should go to the nook and corner of the place where we are preaching. So, when the books are going, Harinam Sangeet is happening, Bhagavatam is happening, morning program is happening. And there is facility for people to come and take prasad and stay in the temple. Then you will see that there will be people who will move into the temple. So in this way, Prabhupada would offer varieties of services for the devotees, wherever he was very good engager. Sometimes some of us may study philosophy and practice philosophy, but when it comes to when people become devotees, when they come, we don't know how to make them, how to keep them happy for a long time because we don't know how to engage them. We have no service, tell them, please study and become a pure devotee as soon as possible. How will they become pure devotee? You can't become pure devotee overnight. It's a slow process. It takes time, many, many years it will take. So therefore, if they get some engagement, that's according to the psychophysical nature, then the mind and body will be peaceful. But like you all have experienced, go to the kitchen and you cook hours and hours, it's very absorbing service. Somebody is making garlands, somebody is making jewelry, somebody is making outfits for the Lord, somebody is doing deity worship, somebody is doing on food distribution, somebody is doing Harinam Sankirtan, somebody is doing youth outreach and follow. Some solid service should be there for people to identify with. That's why he's saying there are different departments of activity in Krishna consciousness and the spiritual master knowing particular ability of a particular man trains him in such a way that by his tendency to act, he becomes perfect. Now, do you think every spiritual master is able to do this? For all the initial disciples, come here, I know your tendency. This is your tendency to do the service. So who is doing that in this context? This is the temple president who is doing that. The temple president has a group of devotees living within the temple and devotees living in the congregation. So, one observation I made in my early days in Pune, many of the congregation devotees would tell me that Prabhu, our spiritual master is not easily approachable. He occasionally comes. But you are sitting here in Pune because he has appointed you, we know it very well. So we are coming to you. Please give us some seva, give us some engagement. So I told somebody, Mataji, you do this children preaching, you do this girls preaching, or you do this. There are other men, you please help with the Sankirtan department, you help with the Harinam Sankirtan, first party. So different other people are given service and steady for several years, people have rendered service. Many wonderful services they have rendered over a period of time. So they take it serious, and I also get reports also from various brahmacharis, boys, congregation. So once they get set in a service, steadily they do service, purification happens, they get blossomed. So now one observation I am making, nowadays there are people who are eager for Diksha, but not eager for Seva. They think that Diksha is something like a rubber stamp. Now I also have a guru. I have got a guru now. like that they are thinking like that. I have initiated now. So that is not enough to just have a title that I'm initiated. We should have some service to identify with. Either people are not going and asking for seva from the temple president, or sometimes temple president may not be able to handle the big community of congregation and boys, brahmacharis, all of them. So somewhere there's a gap due to which people are not engaged very nicely. And the people don't know how important it is, as much as eating food, as much as sleeping is important for us. Similarly, for the soul, service is very important. Therefore, Prabhupada translated bhakti as devotional service. If service is not there, without the service, we will find it difficult to purify our mind and senses. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchati. Then simply chanting, how many rounds can you chant? You know, you will not be able to chant all day. We don't have the adhikar to chant all day. Then what happens? Morning program is over and I don't have any activity to do. Then naturally one is likely to turn towards materialistic engagements. Then somebody may be playing with YouTube videos. Somebody is gossiping, somebody is quarreling. Then people get into politics and so many different kinds of things. And that is how the time of the day can get filled up with useless sometimes, and sometimes even harmful engagements, which can divert us from going back to God. So that's what he's saying. There are different departments of activity in Krishna consciousness, and the spiritual master, knowing the particular ability of a particular man, trains him in such a way that by his tendency to act, he becomes perfect. Not only he gives him service, he trains him, he says. For example, in Pune temple, we have this deity department. We announce to congregation, anybody would like to, first initiative devotees can do background service in deity department. Second initiative devotees can go into the altar. So we have a course we offer, deity department course. You can come to temple, it's a 3-day course, 8 hours a day, and then you can receive a certificate after the course. Big crowd of people come. Then we take in batches and get them all trained in the deity department. And then offer them a certificate after 3 days. Then immediately the deity department will be bustling with activity. You will see that newly trained people want to get some engagement. Then similarly, we have BVRV, Bhaktivedanta Raja Vidyalaya. It's an institute for Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava, Bhakti Vedanta. So we announce that we are going to conduct Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava, Bhakti Vedanta courses. Who would like to join in the congregation? We make pamphlets. Sometimes we preach and bring new people, but whatever the people who already come, that has to be training for. So then you will find now we have more than 1,000 devotees undergoing Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava. 50 courses are going on now, different places, different parts of the city, bustling with activity. So now we understood that the more you start courses, then more teachers you need. Then we made announcement, teachers training course, 1. Teachers training course 2, Bhakti Shastri TTC. Who would like to join? Big crowd of people come. We want to teach. Then you make a list of 100 devotees in the congregation. All of you get trained. We call Atul Krishna Guru Mayapur. Get them trained in TTC course. And people, after they finish TTC, what they want? They want teaching engagement. Okay. Here are teachers, here is Bhakti Shastri students, connect them both and give them engagement. In this is the way we, therefore, everything begins where, if you see, training first. Then when you train, then you give engagement. Then training and education, then engagement, and then empower. So for all these things, the leaders have to take out their time and split their hair to find out how we can offer engagements to the people. Otherwise, what will happen? People will come, they will visit on Sunday, and rest of the Monday to Saturday, Maya will give them engagements. Maya has 24/7. She will do night duty also. Day duty, night duty, she will do to give engagement. I have seen even boys also who come to the temple. If they don't have engagement, then they start surfing in the internet and watching this, that. And they think about better jobs, more money, opportunities, and go here, go there. They're not doing devotional things. So therefore, we have to find out suitable engagements as per the time availability and everything. Bhagavad Gita makes it clear that one can attain the highest perfection of spiritual life simply by offering service according to his ability. Just as Arjuna served Krishna by his ability in the military art, Arjuna offered his service fully as a military man and he became perfect. Similarly, an artist can attain perfection simply by performing artistic work under the direction of the spiritual master. If one is a literary man, he can write articles and poetry for the service of the Lord under the direction of the spiritual master. Like George Harrison, Prabhupada said, I will give you ideas of how to write poems. And on those themes, you write poems. So Prabhupada said, write a poem on feeling of separation from the Lord. So George Harrison took some hints from Prabhupada. Then he wrote that famous song. What is that song? My Sweet Lord. Oh, my sweet Lord. You heard that song? You have seen that. If you hear that song, it will be so nice it is. I'll just show you that. This is the Prabhupada only gave him ideas. Very famous song. I want to see you. So, this way you will see, you will find Srila Prabhupada taught George Harrison. He told him that George Harrison actually was considering to shave up and become brahmachari. Prabhupada told him, no, you have some very special talent gifted by Krishna. You live in the world and you can be an artist and singing. Like here he says, if one is a literary man, he can write articles and poetry for the service of the Lord and the direction of the spiritual master. And one has to receive a message of the spiritual master regarding how to act in one's capacity for the spiritual master. He is expert in giving such instructions. It's a very, very important point. These are all very fine things. Like, for example, not only every candidate should go to a senior and seek service, not only you should take service and go away and do according to the whims of our mind. You should even ask, how do you want me to execute this service? Nowadays, many devotees don't even know, for whom am I serving? You ask, when you ask one devotee, whom are you trying to please? Because this devotee was having a quarrel with somebody. Then I asked him, whom are you serving? He said, oh, just like that, I picked up a service. He said, that's not the way service is done. Actually, service has to be awarded by somebody. In this purport, it's clearly said, spiritual master awards the service. In the event of spiritual master not available to the devotee, then you have to find out some senior who is representative of spiritual master who is giving you service. So, number one, service should be taken from a senior. Number two, Prabhupada says here, how to act in one's capacity should be known also. What type of, what is expected. It's not that we are doing some service. It has to be aimed at pleasing somebody. Very simple example I'll tell you. You join a company, do you just pick up some activity in the company and do? Or you belong to a department? Some department. And in that department also, do you pick up anything and do? Or you are going to be doing something which is awarded to you by a boss. After the boss allots the job to you, you do it whimsically the way you want and you don't bother about anything, or you try to please the boss. Yeah. Otherwise, there is no promotion. That is simple it is. The same way in material life you do that same. Like you ask somebody who's a doctorate student, you can ask, you have a guide, right? You have a guide, you'll be taking a guide. Yeah. Very soon, as soon as you join doctorate, you are allotted a guide. What is the meaning of guide? Guide means it guides you. He's supposed to guide you. Okay, you define a problem. After that, you research some papers and go and show it inside. And this is the way I am progressing in my this thing. And sometimes he'll tell you, hey, not this way. You should go that way. Correct, no? He will give you another direction. So you need guidance, you need direction, you need alteration if need be. And you have to be able to please the boss. If the guide is not satisfied tomorrow, he will not give a reco. In India also, if you are an IIT, if you want to come to America, the guide will give you a reco when he is satisfied with you. If he is not satisfied, he will say, you didn't do good work in India, what are you going to do in America? He will say. He will not give you. So that means the candidate should worry about who will give me a recommendation. Am I acting to please my superior? And am I doing the service the way he wants me to do, or am I doing service the way my mind tells me to do? So sometimes we have our own idea of doing things. And that is where there are differences in opinion. Then we give up the service and go and things like that. Because here comes the next important point. This combination, the instruction of the Guru, spiritual master, and the faithful execution of the instruction by the disciple makes the entire process perfect. Srila Vishwanath Thakur describes in his explanation of the verse in Bhagavad Gita, Vyavasayatmika buddhihi, that one who wants to be certain to achieve spiritual success must take the instruction from the spiritual master as to what his particular function is. That means one should go to his superior and say, Prabhu, now I am chanting 16 rounds, I am following the particular principles, I am reading Prabhupada. Now I want some service. Please give me some instruction. And what would you like me to do? And take the service. What is my particular function? Krishna says, Sve Sve Karmani Vidataha Samsiddhim Labate Naraha Swakarma Nirtaha Siddhyam Yada Vindati Dakshinam Yataha Pravritir Bhutanam Yena Sarva Vedam Tadam Swakarmana Tamabhyarchya Siddhyam Vindati Manavaha. That is Sve Sve Karmani Avirataha means according to your own nature of Swabhava, you will be allotted some service. Somebody can be a preacher, somebody can be a manager, somebody can be a counselor, somebody can be a cook, somebody can be a cleaner, different services. And when that function is allotted, one should do it faithfully for pleasing the superior. Then you make advancement. One example I will tell you. You see, Jiva Goswami had 3 Shiksha disciples. One of them was Shyamananda Pandit. His earlier name was Dukhi Krishna Das. So Dukhi Krishna Das was a disciple of Radheshyam. And he was sent to Jiva Goswami so that he can take training under them. So, of course, Jiva Goswami had different gurus, disciples under his custody for training. He had Hriday Chaitanya's disciple was Dukhi Krishna Das. And Narottam Thakur was whose disciple? Lokanath Goswami's disciple. Srinivasa Acharya was the disciple of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So 3 different gurus had sent. So they all lived in the same ashram. So one day Jiva Goswami called Dukhi Krishna Das and told him that I will want here a very special service. Take this broomstick and go to the Seva Kunj, the Niduvan we call it. So that you can sweep the floor because in that holy sacred place, Radha and Krishna and the gopis come and dance at night. So he took it was a small broomstick. In those days, Vrindavan was very dusty, even now it's very dusty. And he was sweeping it. You can imagine how much dust must have arisen. So he rendered the service. While rendering the service, there were tears flowing from his eyes, remembering that I am rendering service to the Yugal, Radha and Krishna. So as he was faithfully doing service, that's what he's saying. The instruction of the Guru, along with the faithful execution of the instruction by the disciple, makes the entire process perfect. So suddenly one day he found the Nupur, ankle bell of somebody. When he picked it up and saw it was studded with diamonds, it was very elegant looking. He understood this cannot be anybody else other than Radharani's. So he kept it with him. And very soon a young girl came, one Vishaka came. She didn't exhibit her spiritual form. She looked like ordinary girl she came. She said, did you see any ankle bell here? He said, yes, I found one. He said, can you please give it to me? He asked her, who are you? He said, oh, that belongs to my Swamini, my mistress. So he said, yes, I will give it to you, but you take me to your mistress, to your Swamini. I will give it to her directly. Said, okay, come. So she took him, and she took him to a tree. In front of the tree, under the shady tree, Radharani manifested her spiritual form, Ishwari form, in an effulgent form, so beautifully decorated with jewelry and ornaments. And Bishop also changed her form, the spiritual form. Then all around there were Rasta Sakis, other Sakis were also there. The whole ambience changed to Goloka. So at that time, this Krishna saw that even his body had changed, had become a gopi because it was his Siddha Deha. So his sadhana Deha became Siddha Deha. So then he gave it to her. Rather than he took it and saw exactly it was the same thing she was searching. She became very pleased. With that, she put a tilaka on his forehead and touched his head and blessed him and said, because you gave me pleasure, Shama ko Anantiya. This is Shama Ananda. One who gave pleasure to Shama. Who is Shama? Radharani. So he gave pleasure to Radharani. So your name will be Shama Ananda. So he became blessed. So he accepted instruction from Guru, from Jiva Swami, and then ended the service. And the result of the service was the fruit, was Krishna praying he achieved, and his position in the spiritual world. So, Sri Vishwanath Thakur describes in his explanation of the verse in Bhagavad Gita, Vyavasayatmaka, that one who wants to be certain to achieve spiritual success must take the instruction from the spiritual master as to what his particular function is. He should faithfully try to execute that particular instruction and should consider that instruction his life and soul. This is another thing. Not only you should go and beg for something, you should take that service as a particular instruction given for you. Somebody else may be doing something else, you don't bother about it. You bother about what is told to you. You do this. Just like in a music, you are playing drums, somebody is playing violin, somebody is playing trumpet, somebody is playing the organ or the harmonium or something. Everybody has different instrument given. The director is showing the hand. You should play your instrument. You don't play somebody else's instrument. Correct? And also you should play only when you are told to play. Correct? No? The faithful execution of the instruction which he receives from the spiritual master is the only duty of a disciple. So that means we should take the instruction how? He says, as life and soul, he says. So the faithful execution of the instruction which he receives from spiritual master is the only duty of a disciple. And that will bring him perfection. One should be very careful to receive the message from the spiritual master through the ears and execute it faithfully. That will make one's life successful. See, here I'll show you one. To show you one letter. This is a letter my spiritual master written many years ago. It was actually 1995. 1995, September or October, I wrote a letter to him. And told him that in Pune, what all are going on. So he saw that letter. I had sent an exhaustive letter with all the activities I'm doing in Pune for the youth. So he replied back saying that I'm happy to receive your kind letter. Thank you very much. You'll see that this letter has many components. Due to your great enthusiasm to surrender to the order of the spiritual, your spiritual master, develop college preaching, Krishna is empowering you with transcendental intelligence. I am very excited to hear about your dynamic plans to develop the Bhakti and the youth services. So originally I had written the name BYS. That's why in America also I'm using the same name, but for the youth services here, BYS in Pune. We want to attract as many young people in colleges as possible to participate in the Radheshyam Mahaprabhu's Sangeeta movement. Be very attentive to educate each student very systematically in the study of Srila Prabhupada's books, preach in such a way to dispel the doubts and inspire them to accept the path of bhakti as their life and soul. With great compassion, become their friend and guide. Train them with great care to follow the principles of proper Vaishnava behavior. By your words and example, gradually induce them to practice their sadhana very strictly and attentively. Encourage them to remain in the college and be exemplary students, both spiritually as well as academically as far as possible. Srila Prabhupada encouraged all of us with great emphasis to develop the preaching in the colleges and universities. I believe that this service is so utterly essential for the future of our movement and for the spiritual upliftment of all humanity. I take the dust of the feet of all of you devotees who are preaching in the colleges. I pray that you develop this service with your life and soul. He says here, is it? I pray that Sri Radha Gopinath Ji may shower an infinite blessings upon your auspicious endeavor. I hope that this makes you interested. So from this letter, you will see there are 8 instructions I will show you that you see this one. These are the points he says here. You see, there are 6 instructions there. You'll see that. See, be very attentive to educate each student very systematically in the study of Prabhupada books. That means, so therefore, what you have done every semester, we have prescribed what Prabhupada book should be studied right now, and preach in such a way dispel the doubt. So we have Samshaya Nash, Shraddha Prakash, faith and doubt camps. Right now we have that. And accept the bhakti path as the life and soul. Many of the people actually dedicate their lives fully, either as brahmacharis or grahasthas. And then, with great compassion, become their friend and guide. For this, we have this FTech, MTech courses. FTech is frontliners training and education course, and MTech is mentor training and education course we have. So 10 topics we have in training for our mentors. And train them with great care to follow the principles of Vaishnava etiquette and behavior. For that, we have VMMR right now. You will see that. And by your words and example, induce them to practice their sadhana very strictly and attentively. So, the strict morning program right now in all our centers. And I've been repeatedly insisting on that in all my talks. Encourage them to remain in the college. So, do we share down to second year? No. Remain in the college and be exemplary students. And then work for 3-4 years and then earn sufficient money and give to parents. Some of them may wish to join, and most of them may wish to get married. And for they should be both spiritually and academically. Therefore, we have study charts right now. So here is the point to his instructions. See, he's telling me that Krishna, due to your great enthusiasm, surrender in order of your guru, develop college this thing. With transcendental intelligence. I'm very excited to hear about your dynamic plans to develop the purpose. This is encouragement. See, I have divided further. See the instruction now. I put it under Siddhanta, Sambandha, Sadachara, Sadhara, Swadharma. So now why did I make like this? If you see, actually we have to worship the instructions we receive faithfully. If you see, the first 2 instructions are talking about Siddhanta. Educate each student very systematically. Preach in such a way to dispel their doubts and inspire them. So, in this way, if you take each of the components of this instruction seriously and then implement, then we can do so much is loaded in this instruction. How to show compassion to the boys? By being their friend and guide. That is the little Priti Lakshana, Sambandha. And Sadachara, principles of proper Vaishnava behavior. Sadhana, strictly and attentively. And Swadharma, that is the academics. This is Swadharma. So in this way, these are instructions for Siddhanta, Sambandha, Sadachara, Sadhana. You can see that. So in this way, we have an opportunity to faithfully follow the instructions in our life if we take it seriously. So it's a very important verse it is. So the essence of this verse, which we read just now, the essence of this verse is actually, he says, I have fortunately been instructed by you, and thus a great favor has been bestowed upon me. I thank God that I have listened with open ears to your pure words. This is told by Srimad to Kadamuni. When Kadamuni told the king that unless kings like you board the chariot and travel around the world, and unless they subdue the evil doer-mongers like thieves and rogues, there will be no law and order in the world. You are doing your Kshatriya duty so perfectly. I am very happy. Like the Kadamuni said. So seeing that, our Swayambhu Manu said, I actually thought that as a Kshatriya, I am wasting my life running here and there. I wanted to leave everything and come to forest. But after hearing you, I am getting encouragement in my Swadharma. So thank you for that, he said. So they both are praising each other's Swadharma. The king praised Kardamani that you are a pure Brahmana. You are a storehouse of austerities. You are a great devotee of the Lord. And by your shining example of your wisdom and tejas, we people are encouraged to do our duties. Like that he praised him. They both praised each other actually. Kardama and the Kardamani and Swayambhu. But for us, we learned one important lesson today, that one should not be dull in spiritual life. One wants to advance in spiritual life. Either one should go to the Diksha Guru or Shiksha Gurus and pick up some service, and one should render that service and report and be accountable. And when one is accountable in reporting and take some inputs, corrections, and ask for any modifications the superiors would like to do, and in this way bring some results to Prabhupada's mission, and by that earn the pleasure of the superior, and that earning the pleasure of the superior also leads to blessings. Then one can attract some blessings of Hari, Guru and Vaishnava upon oneself, and those blessings will make us stable in spiritual life, make us grow in spiritual life. And every individual coming to ISKCON movement is expected to do that. So that's the reason this purport is very important purport. And Prabhupada clearly says the Guru's job is to identify the psycho-physical nature of the individual and to allot one service to them, and and give them guidance, direction, training, so that they do the service very expertly. So in my travels, wherever I go to different places, one question I ask, whom are you serving under? And people say, good question, I never thought about it. Many people say like that. I don't have any fixed devotee or anybody like that. We visit the temple on Sundays. If there is some seva, we do it. Some part washing we do. Or sometimes they tell us to stand in book table, we stand. But we don't report to anybody, nor has anyone given us service. And many of these people, if you see, they stay in their cozy homes. They once in a blue moon go to the temple or programs like that. And but in the material life, they are very attentive. You will see that if they don't go to company 9 to 9, many times they work very hard and they have to make money, they have to please their boss, otherwise no promotion will come. That they are very attentive, because the material promotion and material money making will not happen without pleasing somebody. You agree? Is there anybody you can say here, oh, in my company, nobody cares what I am doing, what my salary is, stout salary is coming. I am making practically millions of dollars. Any company will give like that. The companies have something called a bench, you know that, no? If somebody is not reporting properly, not doing good work, he'll be kept in the bench for a while and then shown the pink slip and shown the door. So, but in spiritual life, people think success means you get initiated, that's all. That's a wrong notion actually. Getting initiated alone is not the goal of life. And also there is no assurance that if you are, just because you're initiated, at the time of death, you'll go back to body, nothing like that. Actually, initiation means it's like getting into engineering college. You are initiating your course. But after that 4 years, you have to study 50 papers. And then you earn the degree. Not that you get in engineering college and then immediately get the degree. You don't get that. So the central theme of this verse and purport is that one should render some service, and the service should be awarded by a superior, and one should make an active effort to please the superior. And one psychophysical nature is identified by superior, and then one is awarded a service in line with that, so that you also get some pleasure in the mind also. Actually, in English, we have one term called as uh, he is in his elements, we say. You know that? Oh, look at this fellow. How is he beating Malangam? He is in his elements. He is in his elements means his psychophysical nature is matching with that service. That means he is in his elements, we say like that. Somebody is a preacher, enthusiastic preacher, an enthusiastic book distributor. Mahotsaha Prabhu. Enthusiastic book distributor. Is the relationship of Prabhu. So we see that in this way, somebody does pujari service very happily. If somebody loves the service, they don't have to work for a day in their life. So they also love the service. Guru is pleased, the movement is expanding, everything is wonderful. That's the goal of Guru, identifying the swabhava of an individual and giving them service. Like somebody can be a good manager. Manager means what? He gathers the devotees, identifies their potentials, offers them the service, takes accountability forms, and then makes sure that the services are increased and the movement flourishes, correct? No? He is a management, like planning, organizing, coordinating, managing, controlling, monitoring and control. He is a manager. And Brahmana means the preacher. He can just sit down and give lectures. He's a preacher. So different people have different talent like that. One should find out who can do what best and what service everybody can do. Accordingly, that's one thing highlighted in this purport. Okay, let's take one question. Anybody?
The question is, sometimes we have to take services without telling anybody. This room is not clean, so I have to take initiative and clean the room without telling anyone. So in these kind of cases, we don't have instructions. So
actually, these are not like cleanliness. Keeping cleanliness is a basic human requirement. In America, is why if you're using a washroom, they after that they clean with this thing wiper. You've seen that. Sometimes they put this thing also there. If you take wiper, there should not be a drop of water on the bathroom. Correct? No? When it's supposed to clean. If you're not cleaning, we take bath and come out. It is considered as lack of etiquette. In the same manner, if a room is not clean, it's actually lack of etiquette. One is supposed to clean. Somebody says, after I finished I washed my plate. I did wonderful service. It's not a big service. I'm reading this thing to wash the plate is a natural thing. So, in this way, these are basic needs of human being. We can say like that. But over and above that, there may be some voluntary service you may take up. For example, you have some time today. You go to the kitchen and ask, Prabhu, I see that you are alone, struggling so much. You want to get something for you, or I can. What we call it as a voluntary acceptance of service. We go and volunteer ourselves for some seva. And the person who is receiving seva, he is pleased. That means you are trying to please somebody. You are not just doing yourself. Well, whenever we do any service, there is some person who is pleased. We think that, or you have some motive that I want Akadasi Krishna. I want to be, by washing these parts, I will cleanse my heart. We don't just do blindly. Like if somebody says, in the morning, you see that some people walking in the road, brisk walk, they go for reducing obesity. Right? So they have a motive, but it's a material motive. Now somebody is going on Harinam, it's a spiritual motive. He wants to distribute the holiness to people. A spiritual motive. Somebody thinks, oh, I will go on Harinam because if I walk, I will have good digestion, I will have good health. That means he is going on Harinam with a material motive. Correct? No? Yeah. Okay, will you get benefit? You will get physical benefit, you will get plus Ajnana Sukruti you will get. Because he doesn't know the spiritual benefit. He gets that. In this way, every work has some motive of giving either pleasure to oneself or to pleasure to your superior. Nothing is done without any. But as you said, if somebody takes the voluntary service, that is deeply appreciated because unscheduled service that somebody is doing, ad hoc, we call it. So they get tremendous mercy also. Like some devotees are very angry or unhappy with Advaita service, which comes suddenly. They will say, yesterday why you didn't tell me, today morning you said. But somebody without complaining does the service. They make a lot of fun. Of course, we have to know how to balance with the chanting and all that.
Hare Krishna. I have a question like how we can manage our time effectively, and the second question is like how to keep patient. As you said, that a degree, suppose you are in a degree and it's a 4th-year degree. It is not possible that immediately after going there you are going to get the certificate. You have to study and wait. So how to keep patience for that? Like things will come and you have to work on, and that will be going to be fruitful.
Yeah. The first question about managing our time effectively. If you do a particular activity in the day at a particular time and you standardize it, then you will see that mind gets acclimatized to that. For example, early morning, I will do the studies. Like I'm memorizing shlokas, I will do early morning. For example, you keep some 3:30 to 4, I will do it. It will happen every day, you will see that. Another way to fix it, queuing, we call it. Queuing means immediately after breakfast, I will finish 30 minutes of Prabhupada book reading. Or immediately after my lunch, 30 minutes of Prabhupada book reading I will do. Or Lilamrita I will read every day after lunch, 30 minutes. It's called queuing. Well, queue means you queue it along with some activity like that. So also when I am brushing the teeth in the morning, I will hear some Prabhupada recording. Make it a point. So that means planning to manage your time. That's very important. So what are all the first, make a to-do list. That's called the first generation timeline. To-do list. And second generation to-do list, when it overflows, too many things have to be done. And second generation time management is called prioritizing. Which are the things I can do today? Other things push it to tomorrow or day after or next week, like that. That is the second generation. And the prioritizing. And the third generation, it's even more one step ahead you go. Value-based allotment of things. For example, I have 20 things to do. Then you decide, 4Ds we call it. Decide, do, delegate, delete. So take these 20 activities and find out which activities should be deleted. Useless, I am unnecessarily wasting time. Delete. And some things you have to delegate to other people. You don't have to do it. You delegate it to others. And some things you have to do right away. It's very urgent. Today only, right now only you have to do it. And some things can be decided. You have time. Then you do it tomorrow, next week. So this is the third generation you allot. And the fourth generation is a very high class thing. He says that, we all are off-center in our life. Somebody is friend, enemy centered, a spouse centered, thought centered, money centered, pleasure centered. So they're all called off-centers. So we have to bring it to value center. Value center means what? I should spend my time in a very meaningful way. So the fourth generation time management talks about, first of all, identifying what I want in life. Exactly. I have my spiritual life. I have my material life. If my material life is dragging me to the other side and spiritual life is in doldrums, then I have to bring that back to this thing. So we have to deeply do soul searching for the fourth generation time management and make what is important for me, you should write down and write a mission statement for life. And these are the things, vital things I want. I don't want these to be at the cost of some trivial things. For example, in India, when Rajdhani Express comes, the electric train, unit trains will be made to wait. First, that will go first. After that, the smaller trains will be allowed. Imagine Rajdhani is waiting and the unit trains are going. They won't do that. Similarly, there are trivial things and there are vital things. Vital things are called big rocks. Like, for example, in our day, the chanting 16 rounds is like the biggest rock, most important. If you don't chant, can somebody else chant for you? So first put the biggest rock inside the jar, and then put smaller rocks, and then put sand, then put water, everything will fit. If you put smaller rocks first, there will be no place for big rocks afterwards. So in this way, time management can be planned effectively. And also, you have to study about the nature of three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. Those are the things that steal our time, actually. Sattva, rajas, tamas. If you see Nectar of Instruction book, verse number 2 and 3, they are all in Rajoguna Tamaguna activities. So if you can avoid the lower gunas, you save a lot of time. Certainly people can be very steady, balanced, focused, concentrated. So we should increase our sattva in us. So that is the first question. The second question you asked about was what is it? Patience, yeah. So there is a story of Sampati, who was the brother of Jatayu. One time he flew up in the sky to protect Jatayu. He put his wings above Jatayu, but then the sun scorched his wings and it got burnt. So he fell to the ground. Later on, he was thinking that now I am a wingless eagle. Such a shameful thing. So better I die. He thought like that. But when Nishakshara Muni came there, he told him that you have a possibility to grow your wings, but you have to be patient. He said in future some Vanaras will come here. If you tell them the truth, you will be speaking the truth to them. At that time your wings will grow, but it will take a long time, he said. So he was patiently waiting. In those years, Treta Yuga years, 8,000 years he waited. After that, the Vanaras once came. At that time, they saw that the eagle, Sampati, sitting outside the cave. At that time, Vanaras was saying, hey, look at this evil-minded Kaikeyi, because of her, Dasharatha died, he said. And after that, we have been put under the project of searching Sita. We are going here and there. We couldn't find. If we go back, no, Sugriva will kill us. Better that we leave our body ourselves. And also here there is a big eagle sitting here. And he may even attack us also, there is a possibility. And we will become food for this eagle, they were saying. And then they were saying, because of one lady, the Kaikeyi, Dasharatha died later on, Jatayu died, now we will die this. And somebody heard Jatayu's name. He said, he called all of them and said, hey, Jatayu, I am Jatayu's brother, he said. Then all the monkeys went to him. Then he said, I know that you are all searching for Sita. With my telescopic eyes, I can see Lanka and the Trikuta Parvat, where there is palace of Ravana. And that is a fellow who took Sita. They asked him, how do you know what is the proof? He said, when I was taking her through the Akash Marg, I was inside the cave, I didn't see. But my son, Vrishaparva, he had gone to get me some food. So at that time, Sita dropped, at that time, he saw them flying. Later on, Sita dropped jewelry, which was taken by Vanaras. So he came and told me, he said. So then as soon as he told this truth, the wings grew up. That was actually 8,000 years later. So you can imagine what type of patience he had. Similarly, Prabhupada says if a woman marries a man, they cannot have a baby immediately. They take at least 1 year to have a bigger child. So one requires patience, Prabhupada says. So no great work has been achieved overnight. It takes time. Rome was not built in a day, we say now. You need patience, yeah. And 3 things, Utsaha, Nishchaya, Dhairya. You should have enthusiasm, confidence, and patience. These 3, when you combine, any activity can be done very successfully. These 3. Then endeavoring with intelligence, confidence, and patience. So Prabhupada ki. See, one more thing I tell you, our second group. There was one boy in India who used to put sometimes yearly, he used to put 20,000, 30,000 in the mundi. Used to put